Welcome back, friends. This is Yvonne Davis, your traveling warrior astrologer, and I have a reading on the Aries new moon. And after this, I will do another update on the international political situation. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, let's look at what's happening with this new moon in Aries, conjunct Mercury and Chiron. So there are three things going on in this chart that are really interesting that I want to talk about. One is that new moon conjunct Mercury and Chiron. It's sandwiched right between the two. And Jupiter and Neptune conjunct. And then the third one is the Mars, Saturn, Venus conjunction. But most importantly is the Saturn square to the nodes, because while Saturn is influencing Mars and Venus and vice versa, but I think Saturn's really the strongest one there, its square to the nodes is extremely important. So those are the three astrological alignments that I want to talk about. So this video is called Take Action to Bring Healing. And the reason why I'm calling that is because when I looked at these three different pieces of the puzzle, I thought that's what really comes to mind for me. So I'm actually going to start with the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction because it really flavors this new moon. What you can say about a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in general is that it should be quite favorable. I mentioned that before, that when you have either Venus, Jupiter, or Neptune in some kind of aspect, it can create this almost like magical force. And if you're using it in a favorable way, then you can reap favorable results. There is a shadow side, just like everything has a shadow side, and that shadow is that Neptune can sometimes distort things and Jupiter expands everything it touches. So if the Neptune is distorted, Jupiter will expand that. Jupiter's shadow is righteousness. So if you have distorted thinking in conjunction with expansive righteous Jupiter, a distorted righteousness is ideology, and it can no longer see humanity. And this is why I think I want to touch on the international political situation again regarding the shadow of this conjunction. But for average people, we can say that this energy should be really favorable, okay? Because the Neptune gives us an ability to envision a better world, a better future. And when it's mixed with Jupiter, we feel optimistic about the possibility of creating a better future. And I think that's always there. No matter how bad things look, there's always hope. As long as there is life, there is hope. And when you have hope and you have optimism for a better future, and you can actually envision a better future, then sometimes the pain and suffering is not in vain, because it can actually create that motivation that you need to bring forth this vision, okay? And I think that's what this new moon is all about, because the new moon is in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. And of course, we know Mars has a shadow side because Mars is the warrior planet. But really, when Mars is doing its best work, it is simply taking action. Like, I call myself the traveling warrior astrology, because I'm talking about astrology that wants to go out and take action and make things happen, okay? The term warrior, I think, can be about the protective energy, the taker of action. That is also the Mars energy. Okay, that is our warrior energy, that we're willing to go out into the world and make things happen. It's all about taking action. Okay, it's very much grounded in action. In fact, if the Aries energy or if the Mars energy isn't grounded in action, it will eat itself alive. That's the shadow. That's why war exists to begin with, is because war is when one country or group of people or tribe takes aggressive action against another group of people, then it becomes war. But in a sense, that is that Mars energy turned in on itself, eating itself alive, okay? Because then we can't see the humanity in these other people, and so we go to war against them. And I'm using the we, even though you and I aren't actually going to war against anyone. But this is actually what I want to bring it back to, because what we don't realize is that everything we do, every single thing we do, every single thing we say, everything we feel, everything we think, everything we believe puts energy into the world. And a lot of times we are putting aggression, hatred, anger out into the world. And it can be destructive. It can be harmful. Like, have you ever felt that when you're just going along having a good day and all of a sudden, like the first thing that just flashed into my mind was I was driving down a city street, a residential city street. It was very crowded. It was the winter time. There was snow and ice on the street, so I was driving slowly because I wanted to make sure that my car didn't slide. And the person coming in the other direction down that very narrow street with the ice and snow on it waved and rolled down his window. And, because I'm a generally nice person, I rolled down my window and he told me to hurry the F up. And it's just like a psychic punch in the gut, It's like, why do people feel the need to do that to other human beings, whether it's on a global scale or on just a human to human scale? This person didn't even know me, but felt the need to send a psychic ballistic missile into my gut, into my heart. And you can remember things like that, and you can still feel the pain and sadness of that moment, because you're open and you're vulnerable in that moment. You're trusting in that moment. And then someone does something, just a few words can cause so much pain. And that's what I think this is about, is it's telling us that we have the choice. We can bring healing. That's what Chiron is all about. It gives us the choice, the option to think of ways, to strategize ways, to actually take action and bring healing into the world, to envision a better future. And then bring that healing into the world. Every single action we take, every word we speak, every thought, every feeling, every belief, every microscopic subatomic particle of energy that we put out into the world is creating the world. So don't just think about the suffering in this one place. Yes, send healing, send resources. If you feel called to do so, absolutely. But remember that how you think about your neighbor, how you speak to the grocery clerk, how you treat your family, everything matters, because it ripples out like throwing a pebble into a pond. And the last thing I wanted to mention was that Saturn square to the nodes, because what that means is that it's karmic. Saturn is very karmic and the nodes are very karmic. And when Saturn is squaring the nodes, it's like it's taking an accounting. And it's not just saying, what have you done in the past that you are paying for now? And that could be both favorable and unfavorable. It's taking accounting on both sides, but it's also taking accounting of what you're doing now. And that will make a difference in the future. So remember that you do have power to bring peace and healing into the world. You absolutely do. You just have to make those choices. And they can be as small as changing the way you think about someone who makes you angry, someone who hurts you, to see that they were probably wounded. And that's what I try to do when I think of that person who hurt me that day. I think that person is probably deeply wounded. And I can then open my heart again and feel compassion for the suffering of the world. I hope that was helpful and that you enjoyed it and that you learned a lot, and that you'll be able to put this into action. And like I said, I do plan on doing another video specifically on the international political situation, and I'll be posting that soon, so keep your eyes open for it. And if you ever want to get more information, you can always go to my Patreon channel, because I meet up with my patrons every other Friday. We meet for about 2 hours. We have a discussion. They can ask any questions they want to ask, and I do my absolute best to answer the questions as thoroughly as I possibly can. We look at the charts, we have discussions, we're building community there, and you are always welcome to join us. It's only $5 a month. So I hope you'll do that, and then we record it too, so if you can't come to the meetings, you can always watch the recording, and you can always post a question in Patreon, and I'll incorporate that question into our discussions. All right, so that's it for today. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you for clicking like on this video. Thank you for all your super, super kind, supportive comments. I really appreciate it, and I love to see you guys creating community on my YouTube channel. And if you think that this would benefit someone else, please share this video with friends and family and on social media. And if you need a reading or want to take my beginner astrology class, there's always a link below to Patreon, to my website, where there's a link for the astrology basics, and there's a link for readings. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye-bye.